I give my best intro.
My Meld says she's going to tune in, so I'll get her to check.
That was funny. Oh, it says live.
Yes.
Testing. Can you hear me?
Oh,
Hang on, I think I have it muted. Wait.
Testing.
Yeah, can.
You can?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Welcome everyone to the Movie Magic Show for Wednesday, the 10th of March, 2021. I am one of your hosts, Shane Bailey, joined by my wickedly talented cast. To my right, the film filleting, TV show hating, maybe not this week, vinyl collating, Mr. Movies, Ben Stapleton.
Hello, Shane.
Hey, Ben. How are you?
I survived.
You survived what?
WandaVision.
Right, okay. That's the week like we haven't seen you in two. I don't know. Below him, the dulcet tones in your headphones, here to engineer a sincere atmosphere, Terry Fear.
Good evening, and yes, I would.
And what?
Below him.
Oh, right. Oh, jeez.
Oh my god. You know what?
Start the stream again.
Oh, boy.
Shoots this time, Shane. Instead of...
I like where the percentage is going.
And below me, he loves his VR and shaking his hips like Shakira. Welcome to the era of Jason Mira.
Hey, what's going on?
How are you, Jace?
Well, I'm living the dream. I'm very intrigued to see how everything's going. And also, Ben, how many vinyls do you actually have? I'm interested. I want to rate it.
Not that many. Yeah, I think that just built the rhyme up first.
Alrighty, okay.
I have stopped collecting part because it's so easy to just listen to music whenever you want to, online or whatever.
All right, I'll change it to the vinyl maintaining. It's just...
Yeah.
Oh, I want to build for your collection. I want to see what you've got. I want to see what I can borrow.
Come on down. Come visit.
I will.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone to the Movie Magic Show. Every week, 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, we gather around, us four chuckleheads get together to love, like, bash, and trash the latest the entertainment world has to offer here on twitch.tv/magic_cask. You can give us a follow and hit that notification bell so you're notified when we go live each and every week. You can also follow us on Twitter at Movie Magic Show, and we'll let you know what topics we'll be talking about on each episode. Speaking of the topics we're talking about on this episode, it's going to be WandaVision. Season 1 has wrapped on Disney Plus, and we have all caught up. We're about a week removed from the final episode, so keen to get into that. But before we get into that, we need to get into our fun little games that we like to play. The first is our movie quotes. We're going to give you 2 movie quotes, and you need to try and guess them in Twitch chat. We'll also let you know the answer at the end of the show. I'm going to go to Mr. Movies for the first one.
Cool. I'll try my best to not do the voice. I expect Terry to get this and maybe the other two, maybe not. Okay, here we go. Way I hear, Albatross was a ship's good luck till some idiot killed it. Yes, I've read a poem, try not to faint.
Yeah, as per usual. Shane has no idea.
I have no idea either.
And going to Mr. Fear for the second movie quote.
Yes. The same with as little inflection. Oha, it's my 21st birthday. Do you think perhaps just once I might use the bathroom by myself? And Oha replies, most amusing, sir. Wipers?
No
Jason?
idea.
No idea? No, me either.
No idea.
Anyway, if you know the answer to those movie quotes, let us know in Twitch chat. They're going to scroll by at the bottom of the screen as a reminder. And the other game we like to play is 6 Degrees. So we're going to give you 2 movie actors. You need to try and link them via actors that they've starred alongside other movies in. For example, if I was trying to connect Samuel L. Jackson to Ewan McGregor, Samuel L. was in...
They're in the same movie
Wait,
together.
hang on. They're in the same movie
together.
together. What's the example I always do? Oh, Nicole
No.
Kidman. Here we go. Samuel
Yeah.
Jackson to Nicole Kidman. You go. Samuel Jackson is in Attack of the Clones with Ewan McGregor, and Ewan McGregor is in Moulin Rouge with Nicole Kidman. That would be 2 degrees. So the subject actors this week are Mr. Mirror.
Oh, they are. I figured I'd go a little bit off kilter, a little bit weird. I'm going with Zac Efron and David Bowie.
Zac Efron and
Zac
David
Efron.
Bowie.
I'm not sure anyone's ever described him as weird.
No, but that's a weird...
Zac
David
Efron to
Bowie.
David Bowie. See if you can link those.
I didn't even know David Bowie was in films.
What?
I've done it.
Oh, Ben's done it. We're going to give you our answer at the end of the show. We'll probably try and figure it out independently from Ben then. How many degrees, Ben? 2, I'm going to
2.
guess.
Yeah,
Oofed.
2.
Oofed. Oofed.
Damn.
Anyway, yes, we're going to give you those answers at the end of the show, so join us for that. Let's get to our topic of the show this week. It is WandaVision Season 1 has finished. It's on Disney Plus. Of course, this is the... is this the first... Oh, no. Well, I guess it's not technically not the first MCU TV series.
No, yeah, you've got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Plenty of others. Yeah. Well, so yes, MCU. There have been other Marvel TV shows, but from what I understand, not part of the MCU, at least officially yet. Like Daredevil and Jessica Jones and that sort of stuff.
I think they are, but they kind of exist
Yeah.
on their own separate thing as well.
Right.
I don't know. It's a bit...
Yeah. Well, I
You
thought
know-
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was definitely part of the MCU.
Sorry, yes, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. definitely. Peggy, what's it? Peggy Carter? Carter, that one? Yep.
Someone Carter.
Yep.
Yeah.
But anyway, the first one to sort of debut on Disney Plus and
Yes.
featuring, headline stars from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm going to go over to IMDb and read the synopsis. This is weird. First time I'm reading it. Blends the style of classic sitcoms with the MCU, in which Wanda Maximoff and Vision, two superpowered beings living their ideal suburban lives, begin to suspect that everything is not as it seems. The creator, showrunner of this series is Jacqueline Schaefer. From memory, she was, writer on The Hustle, which was the Anne Hathaway comedy film and Rebel Wilson comedy film from a couple of years ago. And she's also writing the Black Widow film, which will release later this year. The director of all 9 episodes was Matt Shackman, who has directed many episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, as well as Game of Thrones, Fargo. He's had a hand in just one episode of here and there, in like New Girl, Mad Men, Grace and Frankie.
Which episode of Mad Men did he do?
Mad Men, he did episode 1 from 2012, Mystery Date. I'm not sure what season that would have been. It would have been one of the later ones.
Okay.
Anyway, it stars Elizabeth Olsen, and Paul Bettany. Catherine Hahn joins the cast as Agnes. I'm just trying to see who else we have here. Actually, a Mad Men alumni in the character who played Monica. I'm trying to find the actress who played her, Monica Rambeau. Tiona Paris. She featured as Don Draper's secretary in the later episodes. We also have.
I haven't seen Mad Men.
Oh,
Really?
fix it, Chase.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I haven't seen every single episode, but I've seen most of it.
Kat Dennings returns as Darcy Lewis, who we were first introduced to in the Thor film. We also have Randall Park as Jimmy Woo. And some others I'm sure we'll mention along the way. Anyway, IMDb rating 8.2 and Rotten Tomatoes not certified, but 91%. Very fresh.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's it in terms of covering off all the details. Yes, so I suppose for a bit of context, I'd first like to go around the panel and discuss our excitement levels for something like this. Of course, this is one of the few first sort of storylines that we delved into as part of the MCU ever since Endgame wrapped. Obviously, we had Spider-Man: Far From Home, where we explored Peter Parker's grief in losing his mentor, Tony Stark, and that's kind of one of the. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that's come after it. I think that's it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it.
Yeah, Terry, your excitement level for diving back into the MCU in TV series form after Endgame.
It started fairly low. I ended up binging, but I watched the first 2 episodes because when I started watching, it was into the second episodic release, and I wasn't. You probably asked after a shorter answer. I went in with relatively low excitement, and my excitement built as I continued to watch to see what they were doing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Just before I go to Ben, Kata, thanks for joining us, man. I will. I will let you know when we're going to dive into spoiler territory, so we'll keep it fairly top line for the most part, and then we'll get into spoilers. So feel free to jump out then if you'd like. Ben, self-professed TV show hater, you are always at the stations with your picket signs, telling them to turn it off. Just stop it. Stop it.
Stop making TV.
So when you heard of a TV series exploring Wanda and Vision's journey post Endgame, what were your thoughts?
I didn't really think much about it. You know that episode in Mad Men where he says, like, I don't think about you at all.
One of the best lines. He goes, I feel sorry for you. I don't think about you at all. Oh!
Yeah.
So good.
Kind of like that. Good luck to you, TV show. You have fun. Make people laugh. Good for you. But then I had to watch it because we did this show.
Well, you didn't have to, but I'm glad you did. Jason, you're a lover of the MCU. How excited were you for WandaVision?
I was pretty excited, and like I forgot when the date that it dropped, and so I found out first 2 episodes dropped. I was like, whoa! Got there Friday night, had my dinner, I was eating dinner, watching it. I was enjoying it. I was enjoying coming home on a Friday and having something to watch. I enjoyed looking forward to that because sometimes I'll just sit there and I'll just watch episodes of The Simpsons over and over again, which nothing wrong with that. But watching something new was really fun, and as well as I was talking to someone about it last night. I was really missing going to the cinema last year and watching and getting back into the MCU. I really want to see Black Widow. Really keen to see all that kind of stuff. So yeah, going back into the MCU, watching this TV show, looking forward to it every week was really good. I'm really happy.
Nice, awesome. I sort of kind of sat where I think where Terry sat, in the sense that I wasn't terribly excited for this. I think Wanda and Vision were great characters in the MCU. I always enjoyed when they were on the screen. I just wasn't particularly, I suppose, hooked by the idea of them having their own spin-off TV series. In my mind, it was kind of the thing. I was like, well, how important could this be? And so initially I didn't watch the episodes as they were releasing week to week. And it wasn't until one of my colleagues who was watching it, understanding how much I dislike spoilers, had said to me, okay, Shane, I think it's time that you catch up, because spoilers are going to come out eventually. There are things happening that have implications within the MCU that I know that you're going to enjoy. Maybe you should catch up. So I think I binged all the episodes once episode 7 had launched. I watched 7 episodes, and then I was watching the final 2 episodes as they released. So that was where my excitement level was. I wasn't fussed about jumping on every Friday night at 7 o'clock to make sure I watch it as soon as possible. But still, I think glad that I did. Anyway, I suppose. I mean, I would hope that anyone tuning in has some understanding of what the show is. Essentially, we're exploring Wanda and Vision's story after Endgame, and of course, if you know what happens in Endgame, you might be asking, how on earth is Vision around? So I don't want to dive too deep into how that come about, but I think one of the first things we should address when talking about this TV show is the wacky format that it's sort of structured around, and that is these homages, if you will, to these different TV sitcom styles that have existed over the last 50 to 60 years. Terry, how I suppose just in terms of that format and how the TV show was structured, how did you enjoy it?
Well, I did actually quite enjoy it, because not that I was born in the 50s, but my parents were born in the 40s and 50s, and so I kind of grew up watching the reruns of a lot of the shows that this is kind of sending up. So I Love Lucy, the Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie, all of those sitcom kind of TV shows. I grew up watching a lot of the reruns of that with my folks and my brothers and stuff, and so it was interesting seeing that relatively authentically being recreated in a modern context with modern characters, and the juxtaposition of Paul Bettany's character in human form interacting with other people because his android identity is a secret, which is not a spoiler because that's the first episode stuff. That's, I think, if you know who the actor is, anyway, seeing him come into the room and it's black and white and he's in his android form, I'm like, that's really interesting. It doesn't fit. It doesn't gel with the period that we're looking at here. I found that kind of interesting. I will say that at the end of the second episode, I was intrigued by the format. I was like, I don't understand exactly what's happening. It hasn't quite got me yet. But as I started seeing some of the memes that were being put together, and Agnes's character being an actress that I quite enjoy in a lot of the things she's done. She's great in Parks and Recreation. I kind of came back to it, and then we were going to discuss it on the podcast, so it became homework. And I'm really glad that it became homework, because it's one of those shows that for me built. It kind of found its legs. It started getting really interesting. I love the episodic format that they did. They decided to release it one episode a week for exactly the reason that Jason just talked about. It used to be an event. TV shows like this were something that you would watch with your family or close friends at the end of a particular day. And I don't know, I kind of miss that. Like, I used to do that with like Good News Week on ABC with Paul McDermott. We would like sit down over dinner and we'd watch that as a family, and we'd laugh our asses off because that show was freaking hilarious. And so I think that it's really good. It's also probably quite good for Disney Plus, because it gets people to either sign up earlier because they don't want to wait and miss out on what that episode was. So they're signing up and they're staying signed up for longer. I think it makes a really good commercial sense from that perspective. But because of its popularity, they're going to get people that, once all of the episodes are out, are going to sign up for maybe a free trial, watch it all, maybe watch a couple of the bits and pieces, maybe pay for 1 week or a month or something like that, and that's still good. So yeah, I don't know how much more to kind of go into it without starting to talk about specific episodes and content. But yeah, I ended up really enjoying it.
Nice.
I want not perfect, but I did really enjoy it.
Yeah, I want to get into the specifics of I suppose the themes of the show, and also just the storylines. Like, obviously this is something that like any TV show or film or creative endeavors, here to entertain. And I know a criticism that you've had of many TV shows, Ben, is just they're designed to fill the hours on the set, right? They're designed to fulfill their quota of broadcast. So yeah, I suppose very generally, did you enjoy WandaVision at all? And do you feel as though the however many hours it took, I think it's in total about 5 and a bit, was worth that journey?
Good question. Yeah, there were some things I enjoyed. One of the episodes ended with a Jimi Hendrix song. That was really fun. And
musically motivated.
I like the guy who played Jimmy Woo. He was really well cast, and his character was fun to watch, though he only had a tiny role. Yeah. I was so bored.
Wow.
I can't tell you how much I hated every moment of watching this show. It was so boring. Like, they did a true homage. Like, the first episode is like the Dick Van Dyke Show. And it's so like the Dick Van Dyke Show in the sense that bad joke with like a 10-second applause break, and the canned laughter, the obvious twists in the storyline, and the misunderstandings that they all, that they fall into, which is comedic bliss back in the 60s. But I don't want to watch that stuff, It was so boring. I do not understand what people are enjoying here. The first 4 episodes, extremely boring. And then the last 5, is it? Yeah, it's 9.
5.
The last 5 episodes had something, but it was way too little too late by then. I was just furious at this show for being such a piece of crap for the first 2 hours or something. I really didn't like it.
So I suppose, speaking to the first half of the season, it really is establishing the mystery, right, on what on earth is going on here. And they keep so much behind the curtain and only give you half-a-second peeps here and there into what might be going on. I can understand where you're coming from, Ben. You didn't find any joy in just the novelty of it all, though?
Only in hindsight, actually sitting there for 25 minutes of a Dick Van Dyke remake,
right,
is not fun. But when you hear Terry talk about it and you go, oh yeah, you know what's really interesting about how they homaged it? They didn't do it like they turned Vision and Wanda's powers into, actually with Wanda's powers they kind of did, but they didn't turn like Vision's powers into like a 60s homage TV show kind of thing. It's like they took Vision with those powers and then cast him in a remake, so that so you've got guys doing visual, like high class visual effects on a show with no visual effects, like camera tricks is what they're going. So with Wanda, it's kind of funny because she's like doing the bewitched, like clicker thing,
telekinesis.
You can tell that there's been a cut and she's in a different outfit or whatever, or the thing from over there has come over here, and you know, it's just that kind of thing. Other times though, it was kind of like things would just be floating around much more effectively than you could achieve back in the day, like on strings or whatever. But so they the way that they kind of achieved it, only in retrospect, is kind of interesting to think about. But sitting there watching it was abhorrent. I was so bored. Like I was just sitting there, and then the intrigue starts, like something horrible is breaking the fourth wall or something for a second, and then it just cuts out and you go, what the hell was that? I guess most people that like TV shows are going to go, oh boy, I can't wait to watch 3 more episodes and maybe find out more. I am like, what? That was not enough for this 25 minutes. Like I've been here for ages. What are you doing? I don't want to stand in line to get to the front of a counter and be entertained. I want to be entertained the whole show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what
I would say that the format's different. I kind of agree with you. I think that definitely those first few episodes are incredibly slow at revealing things, and it is very much drip-fed bits of content. But even from episode 1, you can see that there's some stuff wrong. The work couple, the boss and his wife coming. Is that the first episode?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or is that the second episode?
It's
That's the first episode. And the way that they're just, there's something definitely wrong. It does, and not from like a, even within the 3 walls, without breaking the 4th wall, it's like there's something wrong. There is a 4th wall that's not being acknowledged, but it's kind of been flirted with.
I saw the one-dimensional characterization of old TV characters. I saw all the plot is going in this extremely boring direction of, oh, I thought it was our anniversary or something, but I have to have the boss and his wife over for dinner. Oh no, what are we going to do? Meanwhile, I'm just thinking, who cares? Who cares? Who is watching this and being entertained? I do not understand it. That's actually the biggest thing I'm curious about is not the show. I mean, the television. I mean, it's boring, whatever. But I'm furious because I don't understand how, like, we're going to ask Jason what he thinks. Like, he was like, oh, it was great. I was there with my dinner and I was laughing along when they said something that wasn't funny. I don't understand. I just don't understand why people like it. I've lost touch or something. I don't get it.
We'll get to the latter half of the season in a moment, because you do mention like there are some things that happen there that you rather enjoy. But yeah, just Jason, generally your thoughts without spoilers on WandaVision season 1.
I see what you're saying, Ben. I think that's the point, though. I think the director knew that he had those 9 episodes to take his time, as opposed to like a flashback in Age of Ultron for like a couple of minutes. So like the first episode where he's having the dinner, I think what really the moment that made me go ooh was in the dinner, or when they're having dinner, and then Wanda looks at Vision and goes like, "Vision, help," and the camera changes. The camera angle changes, so it stops from being like a generic TV show. What do you call it?
It's the ratio,
sitcom.
Right?
No, not just the ratio, but the way that the camera is used.
The style.
So instead of like being back,
it being like a one camera show where you just got one camera back here, and it just kind of pans back and forth and maybe rotates a little, but it's just
so it started to become dynamic. And so that would, so that's like telling me that, okay, something's different, and something's odd. So that was really cool. I really like those camera tricks there. And yeah, when I was young, when my family moved over to Australia, like those were the those were the shows that they watched overseas. So when they came over here and they started watching it here, that was nostalgia for them. And so yeah, just like Terry, I was watching that on Fox Classics on Fox. And so those were the shows that I would watch when I get home from work. So work, school, when I get home from school.
Well, it was work for children.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
And
legal
so
child labor.
Yeah, and so when so watching those episodes are really interesting, and just like trying to piece apart like what's up and what's new and what's happening, what's going on. Is it Wanda? Like, what is the thing? And I guess that's where watching it every week got me. Where I was able to go into work the next day or the next week and talk about, oh, do you watch blah blah blah, and talk about some of the things and come up with theories and all that kind of stuff, and look in forums and see them talking about, oh, could it be this Marvel character? Is this how they introduce mutants, or this blah 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 blah, and all this other stuff. So that was really that was in addition to the show, a supplementary enjoyment. But like watching the show itself, it is slow, and I get that. But I was in for the ride.
Can I tell you guys how slow the first episode was? I paused the episode when they showed us the calendar so that I could figure out what year we were in. And I was like, okay, so August starts on a Tuesday. That could only put us in 1952 or 1961. And then they were playing Yakety Yak on the radio. And I was like, okay. And I Googled like when that song came out, 1958. So I'm like, 1961, that's the year we're going to be in for this show. That's how boring it was.
Ben making his own enjoyment to make up for it.
Making a game out of finding it out.
Very
That's
nice.
funny.
Cool. Well, I suppose just to dive into my thoughts, I think I want to try and pivot this towards the themes that the show presented as well. And Terry, I want to get your thoughts on this as well. I think I totally understand where Ben's coming from. For me, I suppose, yeah, like looking back on it, those episodes in and of themselves aren't particularly enthralling. Like to your point, Ben, the storylines and the plot lines that take place regarding, trying to figure out why they're having this anniversary or needing to, get something across the line with the boss and impress him. Not particularly riveting. And I think that's, all credit to them for only keeping them to like 20 minutes long, right? Because I think they understand that like, hey, there's only so long this novelty can play out, which is why these episodes, homage one era and then immediately move on to the next. You're going from, like I said, Dick Van Dyke into Bewitched, then all of a sudden we're paying homage to Malcolm in the Middle and Modern Family. So I like that they quickly moved through because the novelty wore off really fast, but at least to me, they didn't outstay their welcome. So I think that's why, from a plot building perspective, those first four episodes didn't do a lot of heavy lifting, but at least for me the novelty was enough to keep me along for the ride, and they drip fed enough intrigue for me to, again, to Jason's point, be entertained by I didn't go in every week to work and theorize with colleagues, but even from episode to episode in my own head, but as the credits roll, I'm like, oh, I wonder if that's what that means, and I was getting a lot of enjoyment out of that. So totally understand where you're coming from, Ben. I think it just it just didn't impact me as negatively as it did yourself. But I suppose, pivoting now more towards the latter half of the season, as it slowly unveiled to us the reality of the situation, and we begin to tie in more of the MCU-y stuff, if I could use that term. Where is this taking place? What's actually happening here? What time period is it? I found all that stuff fascinating. Like, I think anything to explore what are happening with these characters, or what's happening with these characters after Endgame and the kind of lives they lead, I think is truly interesting. And I was really along the ride, at least in the early part, for Monica Rambeau's story arc, and how she was introduced into a post-Snap world as well.
That was really
without
cool.
spoilers. But I suppose just to pivot, to the latter half, Terry, and how WandaVision sits within the MCU. Do you think that those 4 episodes of intrigue paid off?
I think eventually. I've got some thoughts about the themes of. We can't quite get to that until we get to
Right,
spoiler stuff.
yeah.
But I think it was worth it. Ultimately, what they've done with WandaVision, that increasing level of excitement for me was the realization that because of COVID, the MCU has had to shift the way that they package their rollout. They've gone to smaller scale filming, doing this episodes kind of thing, and they're doing the preparation work. They're laying the groundwork for the next phase of Marvel films, and I feel like WandaVision does a really good job of kind of maybe not lobbing up the ball, but it's definitely prepping the oven for the next Marvel movie and also the next series, which is supposed to drop in another couple of weeks, I think. The Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I'm more excited for now, even though I was already pretty excited for it because I like both of the characters. Because I think that they're doing the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 kind of prep work like they did, and that it's the biggest difference between the DC and Marvel cinematic movies is the patience and consistency that we've had from the MCU in taking their time, introducing characters with origin films, and then letting it kind of spread out and then tie it together into these really nice big movies like Civil War, Avengers Ultron, and all of the rest. It's not rushed. They didn't force things into this tapestry that looks great. It took time to lay those pieces so that when they put it together, it looked great. Where the DC movies haven't done that. They've brute forced their way into making these characters who we don't know anything about be in the same place and cooperating with each other and having these competing or even cooperative motives and things like that. It's a mess by comparison, and I think that the groundwork that they're laying for the next lot of MCU movies, but also TV shows in general, I think is really, really good. It's gone. I thought I was going to end up with like comic book movie fatigue again, because it's like 5 hours of comic book movie content in episode form. But it's kind of getting this like, ooh, what's going to happen next bubbling on the inside, and I really, really like that. But yeah, I think thematically, the exploration of how do I deal with grief? How am I going to process this grief? And using escapism, which is so much of what a sitcom, what TV in general is kind of designed to do, I think is a really clever way of literally having that tale of grief for Wanda kind of unfold. I think that it's pretty clever.
Nice. Keeping on the topic of themes, Ben, you noted earlier that you enjoyed the latter half more compared to the first. By the time we got there, and the show's starting to flesh out, the reality of the situation, and the show reveals, exactly the themes it's exploring. Was that enough to satiate you?
One of the themes we explore a little bit is like the Wanda powers that she has, how she gets inside your head and can control you or whatever, and you can be helpless and suffer, and she's the puppet master of your meat bag. And the part I enjoyed the most was like, you guys know my Jurassic World take, right? How one of the main themes of Jurassic World is the sins of the paying audience who come to Jurassic Park or Jurassic World, and they want to just see the bigger, badder, more dangerous dinosaur. So the sin they have to pay for is when they get what they want and the dinosaur can't be controlled or whatever. That's the arc of the main theme of Jurassic World. And ironically, I love thinking about Jurassic World, even though it's a really bad movie in my opinion, because it is doing the thing that it warns you against. It is being a bigger, badder dinosaur movie with a bigger budget and all that kind of. It's trying to do all the things of the previous movies and just be bigger at it. And I love the irony in thinking like that. Like, I'm the audience that demands the bigger dinosaur movie, and then I'm the one who has to suffer for it when they give me what I want, and it sucks. I've got a take on WandaVision, which is like a little bit more of a stretch, which is like the creators of the show wanted me to feel like the supporting cast, so to speak, the guys who are the meat puppets who are just suffering and can't move and just have to watch the events play out and just are in pain the whole time. So I liked that I came up with that. That's my take home from the second half of things when the themes start to play out a little bit more and I don't have to sit there and guess things. I'm really bad at guessing things, by the way, in movies. Like when there's a whodunit or a twist coming, I never see it. To the point where things were happening literally in this show in front of my eyes about, like, I won't reveal, but the post-snap stuff, and there was something visually just happening in front, and I was like, what? And then she's like, the character that happened to is just like talking to someone, and then they just spell it out for them, and I'm like, right. And I get it, like when they get it, because they've just whatever. But yeah, I'm not very smart like that. But I suppose maybe that's another thing about TV shows I don't really grab onto, the whole wait for the episode to finish and then meta-analyze it or talk with your friends about like what you reckon is going to happen later, because like I'm really bad at that. I don't do it. When I'm watching, you don't get this break to think. In movies, it's just a solid clip until your credits roll.
Maybe we should do that moving forward, Ben. Let's just pause at the end of Act 1. Ooh, what are you guys?
Some sort of twist and the scene ends and we just pause it and we go, what do you reckon? Who's this? Like,
Where is this going?
All right, I'll see you guys in a week for the next scene.
Yeah, that'd be painful. Come back in a week and watch the rest of the film. Anyway, yeah, that's all I really loved about the second half of it. There was some, MCU universe changes where you have to go, oh, I wonder how they're going to integrate that into the other movies, or this hero is going to show up with the others, or whatever. I don't wonder about that stuff either.
Wanda? Anyway.
Yeah.
Wanda?
I wonder. I'll tell you what, I did like the evolution of the intro that they did. Like the first episode doesn't have an intro, it just kind of starts.
Yeah, it starts. Yeah.
I can't remember there being an intro at the first one. But to be honest, one of my notes I've got here is like 40% of the bar of time
is credits.
It's
closing credits. Yeah.
No.
Oh my god! Like it's you start off Disney logo, then you go Marvel Cinematic Universe super logo. Then you've got the show's intro, which I actually started to actually like because they do a different one for each TV homage. But whatever, it's still an opening credit. Then you've got the episode, and it's like the episode's here, and then you've got closing show sort of credit that blends into the Marvel end credit, and then you've got like just a title credit that just hits you with names, and then you've got a scroll credit. It's just credits everywhere, and then it goes into another language. It's legit 40% is just opening and closing credits for this darn thing.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because that actually brings up one of the things that I don't like about Disney Plus compared to other streaming services. It doesn't seem, unless I haven't found it, which is entirely possible, but it doesn't have like a skip to next episode button built into the UI when you've got the episode enlarged. You might have like continue to next episode if you watch to the end or if you fast forwarded, but half the time I would skip the bar to the end of the episode so that it would go back to the title screen rather than hitting the back button, and then I would end up having to hit the back button anyway because it wouldn't give me the would you like to see the next episode, because it doesn't know that I've finished watching this episode, and it then recommends that I should start watching the episode I literally just finished. I think that the streaming service has some work to do on its UI. That's all. That's separate to
did it for
WandaVision.
Mandalorian. Like, there's a point, like,
Yeah.
because I would get annoyed when it would auto skip to the next episode because I'm not done listening to the
Yeah,
awesome theme song.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you're 70% of the way through. Let me hear the end of it. Anyway.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure, Terry, that there were so many credits at the end that you missed some middle
I made.
scenes.
This ain't my first rodeo. I will slide the cursor along the bar, which will give you the little preview window, and so I'll roll it along. And if I don't see people, I just click to the end.
Well, the reason I say that is because I stole your account to watch this trash, and
Yes.
I noticed that like it didn't roll back to the start. It was like every episode I started, it's like right in the middle of the credits, and one of them. It was like burnt right before an end scene, middle credit roll scene.
What episode was that on? Because maybe I missed one, but I'm pretty sure.
There were end credit scenes in 6, 7, and 8, I think. And
Yeah, I saw those ones. That's fine. I definitely saw it in the later episodes. Yeah.
Interesting. We might dive into spoiler territory unless, Jason, there was anything you wanted to say before we dive in.
No, but like when Wolverine came out, amazing.
Yeah, that's funny.
No, not yet. Not without like jumping into spoilers. I think going into WandaVision, like in my nerd head, I was thinking, okay, this is House of M. This is the House of M comic book line. Gotta educate myself on what happened in the House of M. So I was looking into it. I was reading up about it and whatnot. So the House of M storyline, for those of you playing at home, is a storyline where Scarlet Witch just goes absolutely crazy and then says no more mutants, and then wills a world where no mutants exist, and it just like completely changes the world.
I can
Except
see
isn't
how
she-
that twist at the end of an episode now might have been more fun knowing that.
So like at the end of that, so like on the other side of that, there are only like a handful of people who remember the previous world, and Wolverine is one of them because his cells have been destroyed and regenerated so many times that his brain remembers.
That's ironic.
Yeah, so he goes
I
around.
remember shit.
He goes around and tries to like get people to like remember who they were, and then they all plan to go and kill the Scarlet Witch. And anyway, it's a very, very cool storyline. I highly recommend you reading it. So with that in mind, I was going into WandaVision like, oh, okay, cool. I'm really excited to see how they adapt it. And yeah, it was very interesting.
Nice. Well, we'll dive headfirst into spoilers now. So if you are joining us and you haven't watched WandaVision and you'd like to remain spoiler free, this would be the time to.
Have you got the ability to put a word on the screen?
Well, I've had spoiler warning in the title of the stream.
Oh, okay, good.
For any
Oh yeah, there it is. I see it
jumps
down the
in.
bottom.
Yeah.
Great.
Um,
Wanda dies.
Anyway, I think where I want to start first isn't I wouldn't say a hard spoiler, but again, just the topic of grief in this, and to your point, Terry, the way they explore it in a post Endgame world. Of course, Vision dies in Infinity War when Thanos rips the Mind Stone out of his cranium, and then uses the gauntlet. So for me, like just diving into the series, that was kind of like, having seen no trailers, kind of where my head was at, where I'm like, surely this is Wanda in some kind of hallucinogenic state, concocting this world, and where she's just tricked her own mind into thinking that everything's fine and dandy, and that's where the veneer of the show in its 50s 60s sort of styling is. That's why it's positioning itself like that.
At all, you know how in Infinity War they said, like, we've taken these 2 years, we've stolen these 2 years to see if this little experiment would work, where you and I live together or whatever. Did you consider before you started watching that it might have been exploring that time before Endgame instead of after?
No, that never really crossed my mind.
Okay, that's what I thought I was about to watch when I was playing. Like, oh, we're going to see like what
you thought it was like a prequel thing.
Yeah, what they got up to before we joined them back in England or wherever it was, where they get attacked.
Yeah.
That
was Civil War, wasn't it? That story arc.
Which one?
The one where they said that we've been living together for 2 years. That was the
Infinity War.
I'll start Infinity War. Yeah.
when
Oh,
Vision
is
gets-
it?
Yeah, Vision
Because
gets
they're in
attacked. They
Scotland.
take the stone from
Oh,
him.
right. Because no, you're right. You're absolutely right. Their relationship is fledgling in Civil War, and then, yeah, you're absolutely right. Hang on.
Yeah, what I didn't suspect going into it was this idea that she would essentially just control a town and turn it into her reality. I thought maybe it was just purely within her own mind, like using her own mind tricks, so to speak, on her to just fashion, escape. Right? It's like those characters in Inception that just like that is their new reality, that their dream state.
Yeah,
and they've sort of just like they believe that that's their new world now. So yeah, I found that truly interesting. And I suppose just when we're talking about the topic of grief, we need to address the latter half of the series of the season. Sorry, and I think they handle it beautifully. In fact, I think that's probably the strongest thing about this whole season is Wanda and Vision's story together. And yeah, what does it mean to be able to, I suppose, construct a reality in which the loved one that you're grieving, it feels as though they haven't been lost. I found that truly fascinating. I think that some of the strongest scenes in the entire season happen between Vision and Wanda at the very end. I think there's plenty to pick apart though, and where I'd like to start is on the more MCU stuff, and that is just like Monica Rambeau's story arc really not having a fantastic payoff. They set her up as this fascinating character. I mentioned earlier the way that she's introduced into the MCU world. Again, a situation in which we delve into the life of someone who was a victim of the snap and then is brought back, during that time in Endgame where obviously, Hulk does uses the gauntlet or the stones to bring everyone back. Yeah, like at that time when she was snapped out, she was sitting next to her mother who was in hospital. She comes to, she's disappeared. She has no idea how much time is lost, and her world is turned upside down. Your mum passed away 3 years ago, and everything's in chaos. And she's like, "What the fuck's going on?" Like, I love that. I love, thinking about the Civil War does this great as well, right? Revisiting the repercussions of Sokovia and the fact that the actions that took place there because of the Avengers, killed this lady's son, and now she blames Tony Stark. I love the way that sort of the snap is triggering these different storylines within the world. I think maybe there wasn't enough sort of like linkage between Monica Rambeau and her mother, who we were introduced to in Captain Marvel. But overall, I think she seemed like a really strong character, and then, at least in my mind, the payoff at the end really wasn't worth it. But
yeah, they kind of gave her these cool powers that she got to use for one time, and then
don't understand what
one
her
and a
powers
half
are
times.
exactly. Like,
Yeah.
it's shown, but to what extent
got
can
this
they be
special
used? Was that on
ability where
purpose, or yeah?
she's got this special power where she can see mind control beads on people's necks.
Well, I mean, when she literally breaks through the wall, like it's not really the fourth wall, but it's the barrier to Wanda's zone, and when the powers manifest, she's seeing like the magnetic the magnetic field that's around the electrical grid that's at the edge of town. She's seeing like a whole bunch of stuff that's not kind of a part of the normal visual spectrum for a person. So there's definitely some like vision enhancements, to say the least.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah. I was almost gonna lean right into it, but then I was like, nah, it's just low-hanging fruit. There's some strength, but there seems to be some resistance to Wanda's powers, because like Wanda kind of like gives her a little bit of a slappy throw thing, which previously sent her tumbling out of the world, and this time she was like, no, that's not happening again. Like, she recovers and her eyes are doing the blue glowy thing. So I'd be interested to. I would have liked to see more. I agree. I'm interested to see what the character does, because of the way that the series ends with the shape-shifting dudes.
There's some really cool seeds planted with her, right? Like the idea that she was like, you know, inverted quotes, like top of her class and in line to sort of inherit her mother's sort of creation, legacy. Thank you. But instead, because she gets snapped away, this, you know, arsehole of a dude just gets promoted because you know, he was the only one that was around still, essentially. Like, someone had to do it.
Yeah, he's like,
he didn't get snapped into you know, into oblivion. So I found
You know,
that really fascinating.
yeah.
Like,
He told his mum, like, I got a promotion, you know.
yeah, and then you know, she comes back and all, like, he's 5 years older or whatever, and has now been promoted, and now she's reporting to him, sort of thing. I found that was interesting. But Jason, your thoughts on Monica Rambeau, how she was implemented, and also Hayward as a villain in particular, I thought was rather weak. What are your thoughts?
Mediocre.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
He was I feel like they kind of used Hayward as like a, surely Wanda can't be the bad guy, surely the other person can't be the bad guy, so we have to make like a jerk bad guy, you know what I mean? So yeah, and like Monica was cool. I completely agree with you, Ben. Like, they could have just, I think it was just a setup for her. Like, that was the first step, and they're gonna hopefully show her off a little bit more in the next Captain Marvel film. And yeah, that's it.
We did get a cool tease
like,
for
the whole like the way that they foiled him at the end with Darcy just like ramming into the car.
Let's like, yeah, trap him in a car for the authorities to come and arrest him. Like, what?
Yeah, surely there's another weapon in that car that he can just like grab and just start shooting his way out.
It did seem like a very
to shoot children.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
surely he's.
I don't think that it would have. Yeah, I don't think that would have worked though. Like, this is something that I found fascinating. The clothing that she was wearing when she was sucked in became bulletproof because she was wearing a bulletproof vest, and like, it kind of got rewritten as what it was. Yes, it's got a different veneer, but it's actually still bulletproof because that's what it was. And so the van that Darcy was in was an armored tank thing, and it became an ice cream truck. So he could have unloaded on it and it would have done nothing because it had been. Yeah, that's one of the things that I was fascinated by in the film.
Opened the window and then crawled out.
Sure, yeah, he could have done all sorts of things.
Yeah, I mean, it's not our job to go with a creative way to, you know, deliver the villain's comeuppance, but I just thought it was poor and rather weak.
Sure, no, yeah, I agree. I think he was very two-dimensionally written. He's probably the weakest character that's designed to be more central than he was written to be, if that makes sense. Like, you've got a bunch of side characters that Wanda engages with, like the Mother's Circle and the oh goodness, she's the lady, I'm almost certain, I might be wrong, but she's the Hawaiian girl from Donnie Darko, the chart up girl, but she's one of the ladies that's in the I'm pretty sure I'm right. I might be wrong, but I think it's the same person. They're two-dimensional because they have no depth. We don't know anything about them. The closest we get to it is the blonde, who's kind of the ringleader of this Mother's group that everybody's kind of trying to curry favor with, and that's basically it. He has as much depth as she does, and he's meant to be this antagonist in the series. And I think that's unfortunate.
It's an unfortunate side effect of the premise of the show that none of the characters are allowed to express anything other than exactly the one dimension that Wanda inflicts on them. The effect is there are no interesting characters in the bloody show. I mean,
no, but he's not part of that. That's what I'm saying. So, he isn't part of Wanda's vision.
No.
He's not a part of this. Yeah, he's not a part of it. There's no reason for him to be as two-dimensional as he is. Like, and his motivations don't seem like good from the get-go. You're introduced and he's like, "Hey, come back on board team," and then he sends her on this bullshit mission that ends up being great for her and terrible for him, and he was trying to kind of get rid of her or something like that. So like, you already maybe don't like him because he's pretending like, "Hey, welcome back, but you're gonna go sit in a corner because we don't actually know what to do with you, or I don't want you overshadowing me," or something like. But it's kind of garbage.
Speaking of garbage, and
the show,
what Shane was talking about, how with the villains getting their comeuppance, their end, whatever. the other villain, the evil witch
Agnes.
villain,
Agatha.
Agatha.
Oh,
Okay.
Agatha, not
Yeah,
Agnes.
Agnes was
Yeah.
the
This is the character's name.
I apart from the fact that the fact that she was just happened to be in this place at the right time for Wanda to show up and or maybe she just wandered in later or something. I don't know. Apart from that whole thing not making any sense to me, the whole fighting at the end was just a bad episode of Charmed, where you just got one woman stands here, another woman stands there, and then they go, and then you put effects in. It wasn't interesting at all, and I thought, oh boy, at least something's going to happen, but it didn't. Nothing happened.
For me, I'm glad that I think the show realizes well enough that it doesn't have the biggest visual effects budget, so they aren't going to do it too often. A lot of that visual effects budget goes into the hex and how that's portrayed. But you're right, Ben. Those supernatural fight scenes aren't at all interesting. But what I love about that final episode in particular is what they do outside of those fight scenes, right? It's Vision on White Vision and their conversation. That is infinitely more interesting than Scarlet Witch versus Purple Witch hurling energy balls at one another. So I like that episode is able to deliver, at least on that part without spending 20 minutes on a Dragon Ball Z fight in sort of American suburbia. I think I agree. It was those. I think it recognizes its own weaknesses though, in the sense that it doesn't happen too often, right? It really is just that final episode that really shows too many visual effects that could be described as weak.
There was a little bit of confusion or maybe inconsistency. I don't know. Maybe you guys can tell me what was happening that I didn't understand. Whereby you could take something that has been influenced by Wanda's power just a little bit, and rub it on a Vision and get a fully powered up, crazy Vision bot with unlimited powers. But then on the other hand, so that's fine. That's just saying that power from the Mind Stone isn't taken, it's copied. So it makes more sense how Wanda is so powerful. She's only been influenced by the Mind Stone. Makes sense why Vision is still so powerful, because he's been influenced by the Mind Stone. He doesn't have it. Or maybe the one that was invented actually has a fully powerful mind. So I don't understand that part either. But then they destroy that whole concept when the Agatha character is all just, I want to absorb all your power so I can have it. It's that's not how it works over here, but it's how it works over there, where I'm oh, now my power is drained and you have it, as opposed to...
I think one is used as an energy source and the other one is using her ability.
As in what's being stolen is different.
Yeah,
is that what you mean?
You have a remote for the TV. The thing that's rubbing up against the thing is just the batteries. You're taking the batteries out of the TV remote and putting into the PlayStation controller. And what Agatha and Agnes, whatever her name is, wants to do was copy or take what the remote could do.
Not what the batteries were doing. So but the show's also setting up that the source of her powers isn't the Mind Stone. The Mind Stone just impacted it. She was already a witch, and this is probably one of the things that I didn't particularly enjoy, because they had to kind of tiptoe around the mutant IP in Age of Ultron. They wanted to include characters that are from the X-Men IP, Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch, without calling, and they couldn't call them mutants because of copyright and intellectual property.
They're enhanced.
Yeah, exactly. They're enhanced. It's I do like he's fast, she's weird. As an explanation for who they were. Most people will have tried to do. I think most people would have been like, who is this character? Like, who's she supposed to be? And then you find out that this is meant to be the Scarlet Witch. Or like you would talk to your nerd friend that we all have and be like, who's this supposed to be? Like, I'm confused as to where this character fits in. So the show is kind of building this reveal of her being the Scarlet Witch, when I kind of feel like most of us already knew that or assumed that that was it, but she just didn't have the superhero name. Like, yeah, so I don't know. I don't know how I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't know how I feel about it as being an origin film. So this series is almost like the origin film for the Scarlet Witch, but there's already so much history with this character within the MCU that it feels like it's unnecessary. That element of it just feels a little unnecessary.
Pretty big upgrade.
Sorry?
Like she's definitely been given a pretty big upgrade as far as power output's concerned. Like,
yeah.
And that might be on us as an audience, right? Like, at least to my knowledge, every time she's been in an MCU movie, she's credited as Wanda Maximoff. Like, there is...
Oh, 100%.
The MCU's like, we haven't called her the Scarlet Witch yet. Like, she's not the Scarlet Witch. Yeah.
That might be because they were waiting for the deal to go through so that they could use that specific trademark name for a character that's enhanced or otherwise. I don't know. I guess I just feel a bit mixed about that particular thing.
I tell you what, the introduction of the actor that played Quicksilver in the X-Men show movies,
yes,
as like a recasting of her brother,
in
the show, that almost woke me up for a second.
I thought that was pretty funny as well.
That was really funny and interesting.
And they kind of they throw it away, right? Like, he isn't the Quicksilver from.
It's a gag by the end of it.
It's a total gag. That's it. Yeah, he just happens. Wasn't it Ray Boner or something? He just happens to be the guy that lived in Westview, and Agatha used her powers to sort of trick everyone into believing that. So
I think she used her powers to give him that speed. Like, he actually moved that fast in the place. So that's Agatha's no pushover. Yeah.
So just crazy circumstance. I feel as though Marvel are pulling the rug from under everyone, and I would understand if people were kind of like, they set this up to be some kind of tie-in to X-Men. At least that's where everyone was being, being led to believe, and they just yank it away. So I kind of understand why some hardcore Marvel fans might be upset by that.
I think to Jason's point earlier, he's got like an interesting point there I didn't really consider. The sword director guy, his job was just to take the heat off of Wanda being like literally terrorizing a town for a month or whatever, and then just flying away. Like flying away, like the attitude at the end was like, they'll never understand. See you later, Wanda.
That's one of the things I wasn't quite so sure about. Like, she's just like, really sorry, everyone. Monica Rambeau's like, I
was dealing with some stuff.
I've gone through some serious emotional issues.
Monica Rambeau is on, like, she's there to she's the one who's sort of like positioned as that audience surrogate, the one that empathizes with, in order to beat this villain or like solve this solution. We're not going to use force. We're going to understand what's going on. We're going to understand our perceived enemy. It doesn't excuse the fact that she's like a government agent and kind of should bring justice to the person who's just tormented an entire town. Like,
we need to empathize and de-escalate so that then we can arrest her and put her through the prison and let her pay for her crimes and all that kind of thing, instead of going like, thanks for trying.
That's against the Sokovia Accord.
All right.
That probably is.
It should have been. It's like, listen, I'm glad this is all settled, but
did anybody else really feel like legit, like when she flew away, she's like, oh, okay, so she's on the run now. Like,
now she's in the mountains hiding away.
She can't just be moving on back home or whatever. She has to just be.
She has a home. Just like blew up, remember? Or flew and then fell.
Crashed.
And she's like just one after the other cascading these things. Like, fortunately for her PR, she got snapped away for a few years so people could maybe forget about all the bullshit that she did. by like destroying that building and killing those people or whatever happened, and the whole being against the Avengers in the first place, which they pinned on her again during the show, which was valid. And yeah, that like she's like three strikes now.
I mean, she did get a field commission from Hawkeye, like. He gave her like the Avengers pep talk. It's like, you know, if you want to stay here and hide, I totally understand, but you step back out there, you're an Avenger. Like, it's a great moment in that movie, and she rises to that occasion and becomes an Avenger.
Yeah, it's not like he was doing a casting call and interviewing all these enhanced people and then going, you know what, we need the Wanda in our squad. It was like the building we're in is being shot at right now. And so
and he's like, we're fighting giant like flying robots, and I have a bow and arrow. Nothing makes sense. It's a good moment all around. I get what you're saying, and I think that you're right. It's the Godzilla problem. Like, you can't beat it. Like, Superman's the same. Like, what are you gonna do? Put him in handcuffs? It's like, it's a joke.
Right, yeah, the Godzilla
any prison
is coming out and people are actually talking about like, oh, I wonder who's going to win. It's like,
it's like, about? Well, yeah, you slap that person and then you take the chicken. It's like,
the character who dies at the end of his movie, like the King Kong dies right by the end.
Wait, you're not talking about Peter Jackson's King Kong though, are you?
Yeah, like
or Kong Skull Island, which I haven't seen.
I'm just talking about original Kong and Peter Jackson's Kong also.
Oh, okay.
Didn't he?
I think, but they're not linking this film to that film. Is what I'm saying.
No.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But still, that thing versus the thing that has never been defeated. Like, it wins every movie.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. Like, you can't against their will imprison someone as powerful as Wanda Maximoff. Any imprisonment that she faces would be voluntarily entered into. And she had a lot of reading to do, so she said, no, thank you, but I will go to the Scandinavian mountains and live in a really nice Scandinavian lodge and have a fake me at the front while I study this Book of Darkness. Thank you very much.
They just need to, knock on Pepper Potts' door and be like, hey, sorry to bother you. I'm sure Tony had some kind of countermeasure for the Scarlet Witch. Do you mind if we borrow it?
Yeah, we could like maybe develop it immediately.
That'd be nice. Sorry, to bring it back to the actual show, one thing that I do want to touch on is Catherine Hahn as Agnes. I love this lady as an actress. I haven't seen her in too much, but one of the performances that really stands out to me is in Captain Fantastic, where she plays the sister-in-law or sister to Viggo Mortensen's character, who's the bereaved husband and father to all the kids in that film. She's in it for a few scenes, but does a fantastic job, and I think she absolutely nails the Agnes character in those throwback episodes that we see in the first half of this season, and also just does a great job of inhabiting the Agatha role as a witch and being sinister and tormenting Wanda, as she's unveiling her history, from when she was younger and all the way up to being the Scarlet Witch. So I really enjoyed it.
What else she is?
Pardon?
You know who else she is?
Who?
She's Doc Ock in Spider-Verse.
Oh, right. Yes.
The voice of Spider-Verse. Doc
Oh,
Ock.
nice. Liv. That's it. Great, Liv.
Like literally just go like, what did I say? I went, really? Like I was watching with Caitlin and I went, really? When they showed us that we were all the way back in Salem in 1642 or whatever.
Right.
I literally just went like, really?
They're trying to rationalize the existence of magic, my dude. Like it's fictional. I know what you mean though. It's kind of it stretches the it pushes the envelope. It's I don't know.
Kind of goes to show that like there were enhanced humans back in the day and that have been evolving.
But is that what they are? Is that what witches are?
Mutating.
Like are they?
I don't know. Who knows?
Well, you can't use that word. You can't use that word.
I'll use the M word whenever I want.
Yeah, that's fine.
I suppose just maybe we can wrap it up here, and also we should touch on where do we think things will go from here on out. I just do like at the end of the day I still, despite its weaknesses, I still really enjoyed that core journey of Wanda and Vision, and I was crying in that last episode when they need to say goodbye once again. I think there are some fantastic.
You were not
characters.
Shane.
I was.
You were not.
I
You were
was
not.
almost.
I was.
I almost was too.
Ben, have you not seen Shane in a movie?
Have you no heart?
Any film with any film with grief, Ben, you're gonna get me. The idea that a loved one you have lost is brought back to life somehow, and you are like to their face saying that you know that the however many days they just had together is about to end, and you don't know when you're gonna see them again. Like, fuck, man, that's gonna get me. Even just like closing the door on the children, knowing that once you close that door, that's it. Like, it's
Closing the door on the children. I love how you put it like that. Closing the door on the children. Just
they're going to cease to exist.
You know what? All I was thinking during that thing, and I said it to Caitlin as the wall is coming in and it's closing down. I was like, by the way, I unlocked the memories of that other Vision real quick. You probably should know that.
There's a white me out there.
There's an albino Vision with blue energy.
Yeah, it's shiny. It's a shiny.
It's a shiny Vision.
He didn't say any of that shit. He's just like, we'll meet again.
Well, no, but it's...
Oh, by the way, we probably will meet again because there's a white version of me that has all the memories that I did. And he's, just out there. You'll probably fly right into him as soon as you leave at the end of this episode.
Yeah,
but
because he is me and loves you.
It's the onward thing, right? It's the bringing back your loved one and, realizing that we only have a limited time together.
Yeah,
so, that's
and about time. Like, there's so many movies, and having that power. And this, I will say, Monica Rambeau's character says, if I had the powers that you have, you better believe that I would have spent some more time with my mum. And I think anyone who has any experience with grief, in particular the death of a loved one, there's different types of grief, but that particular type of grief, that's got to strike a chord. Like, and it did for me. The exploring, because this is Wanda's this whole show is spawned out of her absolute heartbreaking, heart-wrenching sense of loss, that the decision to spend the rest of their lives together, however long that might be, for an android that has an infinite energy source. Anyway, that decision was made, but was taken away from her. And in that grief-stricken moment, her powers explode, and she creates this entire microverse in which, like,
it's a boring show.
Sure, and that's fine. I'm saying the theme that they explore in that meta escapism that so many people that suffer with grief go to. How, like,
Rambo does a better, like, dealing with grief moment than that whole show does.
How do you mean?
When he breaks down and he's like talking about like how all your you got your best friend in your arms, and you're telling him he's going to be all right, and it's falling apart, and you have to with that for the rest of your life, and he's breaking down in front of his captain or colonel, and
you're talking about Rambo, John Rambo. I thought you were talking about Monica Rambeau.
It's not called Rambo. It's called First Blood.
First Blood. Yeah. No, but I mean the character Rambo. You're talking about John Rambo.
Like, wait, what are you talking about?
Yeah, because there's another character in the show that we just watched whose name is Rambo, who lost a loved one.
Yeah. I brought up that Rambo because
that's funny.
My name to one of the bad characters, bad show that we're talking about, and like that 2 minutes does better than this whole 5 hours does of giving me something real that is linked tremendously with grief and anger and pain.
Yeah, and stuff. Maybe I'd object to the word better. I'm just saying that it's an interesting exploration of escapism as a form of coping with loss, because that's something that a lot of people do, and it's perfectly fine and reasonable for a period of time, and it can be a part of an effective coping strategy over a long period of time, but it shouldn't be your only strategy, and it definitely shouldn't be to the scale that Wanda does, where she literally kidnaps people to be a part of this escapism lie that she's telling herself so that she can not be sad anymore.
Yeah,
like, she's had to.
This is an interesting exploration into a character that has the power to do something about it. Like
exactly, yeah. Like I would love to live in a world that is, or some of the worlds that I've explored through reading. That the novel the novel series by Brandon Sanderson, Stormlight Archives.
You was
I'm
gonna bring
fascinated by
I knew
that.
you were gonna bring that one up.
Yeah, well, I'm still reading the latest book on it, and it's like, who wouldn't? And so yeah, I agree. The fact that she can create this world and do it, that is it is interesting. I just think that it's an interesting handling on that.
Sorry to say, guys, but you will all be meat puppets if I ever get that power. And you can create a world where my dad is still alive.
just have a chat with me first. I'll be right there with you crying.
Can't promise anything.
Fine.
I hate to see what you would make me do.
It always comes back to the monkey paw. You're always going to regret it. It's going to be a wish you can never make it
Yeah.
perfect. It's always going to...
Order a perfect sandwich and the turkey's a little dry.
Turkey's a little dry.
Anyway, we'll wrap up the segment by just touching on the how the series ends and where we think things might go from here. Obviously, this has been a huge success for Disney Plus.
Has it really? What is wrong with
91% on Rotten Tomatoes, Ben. You are in the minority, sir.
Yes, you are.
And people are talking about this just like The Mandalorian. This is a Hallmark series that brings people in, gets them subscribed to Disney Plus,
right.
and they're going to stick around for Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
And it doesn't have any of the controversy that any of the Mandalorian, Disney, Star Wars IPs have attached to it.
Guys, get up, get away from the TV, go outside, go to the movies.
Yeah, if not everyone can. But anyway, so
there's no movies to go see.
I'm glad I got Jason with that at least.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? So two things we touched on. Obviously, Scarlet Witch, Wanda off, sort of, doing her own magic thing and we hear her children scream out for help at the end there, as sort of a bit of a tease. And then also Monica Rambeau being caught up by the big man himself, Nick Fury, to spaceship floating in the air that we learn about in Captain Marvel, I want to say. At the end there, I think.
It's at the end of Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was going to say Spider-Verse. Not Spider-Verse. Far From Home. Yeah.
Is it? I thought Far From Home is the end where we get Mysterio telling everyone that it's Peter Parker. I mean,
that's at the end
that
of the
does happen,
movie.
but the end,
the end
The
credits.
there are two end credits. Okay, right.
Yeah,
Anyway.
credits.
So obviously, I mean, without Jason, don't tell me about any comics that I need to study in order to understand where the story is going. I just find it fascinating that Nick Fury has some kind of agenda that involves space, and Monica Rambeau is going to be a part of it. She has superpowers now.
Well, funny about that, you see in the comic books.
Don't. I don't want to know. And also, I think Wanda. I mean, this could be an interesting tie-in with. That's the thing. I don't know, like what role, what sort of part in the MCU is Falcon and the Winter Soldier going to play in this.
Yeah, and also think about
just one more tiny thing about the show that I really hated. They did a previously on where they made sure to show you what the other Quicksilver looked like, so that the idiots watching could go, wow, it's a different guy that's different looking to the other guy, so that you could get the link. I hated that.
I always skip
one
those
is that
previously on because they
Me
always
too.
highlight the parts where
you
should know about. Instead, I want to be like in the moment going, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And also, I didn't wait a week. I don't need a reminder of what happened last week.
That too, but I'm totally with Jason on this. I hate TV shows. I could just end it there. But I hate it when TV shows do the thing where they say previously on, and then the director goes, says something about something about Vision. He's saying something specifically about his agenda with Vision, and you go, okay, so they're going to explore that this episode.
Yeah, exactly.
They do that. Yeah, the biggest sin that I noticed was the previously on that happened at the start of the final episode, where they very purposefully highlight the fact that Agatha is talking about the runes that she's created in the dungeon in the basement, to say only a witch who's casted the runes can use her magic in this room. So I was like, okay, remember that, because that's probably going to be the thing that climaxes the entire series. At the very end.
Chekhov's gun.
Yeah, I skipped that part. So like,
I didn't have that. So I thought it was nice. I saw something happen. I'm like, she's deliberately missing. There's no way she's not hitting. And like even Agatha's looking like, why is she missing me? Like, I don't understand. Just give me a
hitting, the balls are hitting the walls. I was like,
I'm like, something's happening.
Dragon Ball Z as well. So, I can't remember who it was, but like someone kept shooting something at someone, and
Piccolo.
Yeah. Piccolo keeps
Yeah,
shooting.
Piccolo
and then, like,
usually does it. Yeah.
And then they're like, "You missed," and he's like, "Did I?" And then
Did
looks around,
I?
the energy balls like hanging in the air, and then they like come
Yeah.
like.
I think
bombarding
Vegeta's done
you.
it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
the English dub voice actor for Piccolo. He's got such like a it's incredible how gravelly and deep that dude's voice is.
I was just talking
as an
about, like,
aside.
I don't think I could watch normal Dragon Ball Z anymore after watching all of Dragon Ball abridged. It's just the best
Oh yeah,
way
that's
to
the
watch
same
Dragon
as
Ball.
Helsing abridged. I can't
Yeah.
watch
want to ask
normal
you
Helsing.
guys about the abridged Dragon Ball after this, but I just wanted to mention that. Did you guys know, like all the way up through the 80s into the 90s, TV shows in the US in particular would literally, you'd be watching the credits, the end credits for the show that just finished, and you'll have a voiceover guy saying, "Coming up next on WandaVision, Wanda does this and then Vision does that. Stay tuned." And like they tell you
Yeah.
exactly what's fucking gonna happen for at least the first half of the episode. And then what happens.
It's the TV guide synopsis.
Yeah.
There would be someone that would read the TV guide synopsis as the episode was coming up, and it would be the key plot points. Yeah.
Like for the first episode, they would say, Wanda and Vision, get a surprise when they learn they have to host their, Vision's boss and his wife for dinner, and they're not prepared. Find out what happens. It takes like 15 fucking minutes of the episode to get to that point.
Yeah. They're like, I don't remember what I'm supposed to remember. Yeah.
It's so bullshit. I hate TV. Anyway.
Yeah. Throughout the ages, Ben hates TV.
I like some TV shows that are just like non-canonical, non-story progressive. Just show me an episode of Seinfeld where it ends and it doesn't matter.
Have you seen Black Mirror, Ben?
No.
Well, there you go. Like every episode's self-contained. It's great.
I'm sure there are lots of shows. Like, I mean, I don't like every show.
And it's kind of a psychological thing. I haven't watched it yet, but apparently it is pretty popular.
Black Mirror.
I'm also, Black Mirror. Westworld. I can't remember what Westworld's about, but I've been interested in watching it.
Very like it's like the first episodes of this. It's like they're just dying to flood you with intrigue to keep you hooked for the and I'm just sitting there like, I don't know what's happening. I don't care.
Even the inclusion of Anthony Hopkins couldn't get me through full season. I was like,
oh wow, okay.
Sorry, Tony, I'm bowing out, mate.
There's a twist in the first season that is like it's so huge that it almost makes it worth watching. All the hours to get there. It's such a bit. Like it's a really impressive twist. I really wish they'd done it in a movie. I think they did. I think there's a movie called Westworld.
There is a movie called Westworld. That's like one of the first movies where they used like computer-generated graphics with the whole like wire.
And it looks great.
That sounds great.
There we go. Actually, is that a Hollywood reboot we could get? Actually, that could do with one probably. That'd be nice.
I was gonna bring up a point, but I can't remember what it is now. But that's right. The scrolls. Anyone could be a scroll. Like that woman just came out and he just like turned into a scroll. And I was like, oh.
Well, no, it's the other way around. The scroll. It was a scroll all along. The shapeshifters.
Yeah. So like, who else is the scroll?
What are you talking about?
The reptilian alien looking person that was like, hey, they're waiting for you in the cinema. She goes into the cinema, no one's there. The lady follows her in and then turns into a reptilian.
I completely forgot all about that. I was like, what's the thing?
So she's a scroll.
Because you're like me, Ben. I don't think you haven't seen Captain Marvel, have you?
Yeah, I have.
You have? I haven't seen it. And apparently the Scroller in that as well.
They're like heavily in it. And Caitlin had to remind me, it's like, that's a Captain Marvel shit. I was like, I remember. I think.
Yeah.
The scrolls are a huge thing in the comics. So the scrolls are shapeshifters that they could be anyone, basically.
Oh, that's right, because it's a Skrull that is Nick Fury in Far From Home, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's
right.
Yeah. It wasn't Nick Fury that whole time.
The How I Met Your Mother girl,
Kobe Smulders.
No, but her character, Maria Hill, is also a Skrull. And I'm going to bring this guy up every episode, not on purpose, but the Canadian lad. Huh?
Yeah.
The Canadian lad. Oh, the not all along, but the Maria Hill character is played by Kobe Smulders, and
Yes.
in Far From Home, it's revealed that it's actually a Skrull. And
Right.
the Canadian lad in his 0.25 speed watch notices that Kobe Smulders' character, the Maria Hill, when Peter Parker's talking about some really like technical multiverse physics lingo, looks kind of confused, where in other movies Maria Hill's not like that. She's a total genius. Like, she knows all about these sorts of things, and she's across all sorts of scientific techno babble and jargon. And it was an interesting pickup that he made, where she's like either confused that a kid knows, or she's confused because she's a Skrull who doesn't actually know anything about astrophysics and the multiverse.
That's the one thing I haven't done, gone back and watched Far From Home and tried to pick where, you know, Nick Fury as a character is inconsistent with, you know, his legacy, the real Nick Fury. That could be interesting. Anyway, we'll end it there on WandaVision. Coming up in the next couple of weeks is going to be Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I haven't seen anything on this. I just know Falcon, Winter Soldier, and one other character from the MCU has been confirmed. I saw it on a poster.
Is it a movie?
I know 4 characters in the MCU.
It's not a movie, Ben. Well, it's a movie broken up into many smaller movies. That's going to be released weekly.
Oh, you linked the Canadian Lads YouTube channel. This dude, like, yeah.
So
like
I suppose, yeah, like, I mean, I'm, again, similar thing with WandaVision. I'm relatively excited. Like, I'm just, again, keen to see what is going on with Falcon after he inherits Cap's shield. Like, how does that weigh on him as a character and as a person within the MCU?
Without
what
being...
on earth is the Winter Soldier going to do?
Yeah.
He's a warrior, right? And if there's no galactic conflict to be a part of, then what purpose does he serve?
Here's something to think about. So Captain America at the end of Endgame gives him the shield, right? But where does old Cap go? Does he go back in time? Is he still there? So where is he in the present day? Is he still there? Is he an old guy still? Could he be the guy behind the desk with the silhouette? You see him, or like, you know, in the new shield or in Sword, like, or is he just in the retirement home? What's old Cap doing?
He's living his best life.
as in the old Cap that gives him the shield?
Yeah, he's
right.
just
well, he lived his best life. Like, that's what he pushed all that to say.
You know, the funny part is that old Cap was like a little bit older, 10 or so years younger. So, you know, still aged Cap, but not that old. Watching like the Battle of New York happen, and he was like, I fought in that battle, you know.
It's gonna be fine, everyone. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, this turns out okay.
I'll take control of it.
Like, hey, watch out, New York tomorrow. You know, it's gonna be pretty bad.
There were some really entertaining memes about that, like how he went back in time and like was determined not to change anything, and like Peggy's like, "Hey, there's 2 things I can invest in, and one of them's Google, and the other is like Napster or something like that." Yeah, it's some nonsense garbage that no one's ever heard of because it failed on launch, and he's like, "You decide, dear," because he doesn't want to like, you know, use his foreknowledge to change things. It's a really funny set of little memes. It's good stuff.
That's awesome. Anyway, but I'm sure we'll be talking about it on this show after it's wrapped. I'm not sure how many episodes it's going to be. I assume probably a similar length.
Yeah, probably.
Did Cap go back far enough to save Tony Stark's parents if he wanted to?
Definitely went back far enough to do that.
Right. So he was like, it's better off in the end.
Oh, hang on. Actually, maybe not. Because he went back to be with Peggy.
Yeah.
And so that's post that, right?
No, they died in like the 90s. Winter Soldier killed them in like the 80s or the 90s or something like that.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
It was when they were older, because Tony Stark was a teen or like young adult by that stage.
Yeah.
True.
But
yeah, so
it was after the serum was proven
91.
to have worked.
91.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
December 6, 1991.
Oh, of course, because that's what
16th.
Face.
Yeah.
December 16th, 1991, mission report, or whatever he says.
Yeah.
Daniel
Brühl. Daniel's Brühl.
Anyway, we might end the show here. We're going to wrap up now with a couple of games. Let's go first to the movie quotes. Mr. Movies, what was your quote again? Let's remind chat.
Way I hear, Albatross was a ship's good luck till some idiot killed it. Yes, I've read a poem. Try not to faint.
I'm going to have a guess. Is it Master and Commander?
No.
Purely because of the albatross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Captain Pirates of the Caribbean or Captain Merle's.
I've got no idea, Ben, so I'm going to ask
Here's
for
a
another
clue.
quote or a clue. Yeah.
A clue is,
Yeah.
I'm not saying the words the way I hear it, an albatross was. All I'm saying is, way I hear, albatross was a ship's good luck till some idiot killed it. The writing is very condensed.
Yeah.
It's oh
Match.
no, no. I'm pretty. Is this one of the Sherlock movies?
Yeah, it's just Sherlock.
No.
Oh, I know it. I've
In
definitely
Bruges?
seen this. No.
Life is
Let
pie.
me think. No. Let me think of
Air
another
Force
quote
One.
off the top of my head. What
Air
about
Force One. Gary Oldman.
guy killed me? Kill me with a sword.
Oh, Serenity. He killed me with a sword, Mal. Yeah.
How weird is that?
I've only seen that movie like.
And he's like the
Oh,
seven
sure.
deadly sins.
I
The-
haven't seen Serenity.
He's like, right now I'm a fan of Roth, and he like tries to stab him. Yeah, it's yeah,
The way Joss Whedon writes
yeah.
those characters, so cool. They've got this futuristic slang where
Is it Baldwin's character that
abbreviate heaps.
abbreviates that
His
quote?
name again?
Jane.
Oh
Jane.
no, no, it's not Jane. It is Malcolm that says that. It's
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
right.
I
Nice.
put off watching Firefly for so long because I knew it kind of just ended, and I was like, "Screw it, I'll watch it." And I got really invested. Then it
Yeah.
ended, and now I'm angry.
I reckon you
Good.
should watch it, Shane. You might
You
like
should.
It. It's really good.
Yeah,
Really
I
good.
It's been
haven't
way
seen,
too long for them
I haven't
to do
seen
anything
Serenity
Don't-
or...
don't-
Oh,
So watch the Serenity. It's the movie. I watched that first, and then I was like,
Yeah.
"Got to watch this TV show now," and watch the show.
right.
But the movie
Yeah.
is worth it.
Okay.
The movie is definitely really good.
I wonder if it's on streaming
Also, I
services.
don't think I appreciated the movie after, when I watched it because I didn't watch the show.
It's also the first time I'd seen the use of the camera trick or the shot where you have a really shaky cam and then a really dramatic, quick pinched-in zoom to something that's like way up in the clouds or whatever. You're just getting something that's breaking through the atmosphere, crashing like a meteor coming to the earth or whatever, and you can just see it, and then it just like kind of really pinched in.
Like in Attack of the Clones, in the Battle of Geonosis.
Maybe.
I don't know.
So,
you're
like
not
you'll
watching
see
it.
the battlefield, and then like the camera will zoom in onto like a dropship, and you'll see Yoda and the clone troopers.
Yeah,
Like,
that kind of
yeah,
shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that shot.
When I saw that, I was like, "That's so cool! I love that stuff."
Serenity's on Binge, which I don't have, but Firefly is on Disney Plus now.
Speaking of binge,
Oh.
the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League is going on binge in Australia.
Oh.
I can't think of anything I'd want less, Jason, than to plop my
Well,
ass down
I
for
just
4
wanna
hours and watch the
see-
DC cinematic
It's-
universe
Isn't he
torment me.
Hang on.
The Zack Snyder cut is supposed to be better than the original release, right?
Aren't they making it again? Aren't they making another one?
No, it's the same.
It's the same one,
just with extended footage and recut.
right?
Yeah,
Right.
and
You
I
sure they're
think
not
partially
making another
rewritten.
one?
They're not making.
Well, there's a
Okay.
Robert Pattinson Batman that's coming out.
Yeah, I was just talking about Justice League. I swear, I thought
Right.
it was a new movie.
No, it's the original movie. It's just the
I-
Snyder cut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I thought that already existed. Like I knew about that one, where it's just
It
like,
existed in a vault somewhere.
right, okay.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And it's
now
like
it
4
has-
hours or something. It's like
Yeah.
really, really long. Yeah.
Or,
No thanks.
Yeah, thank you, but no thank you.
I'll try and watch it somehow, and I'll report back to you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Jason. Terry, movie quote number 2.
Movie quote number 2. Oha, it is my 21st birthday. Do you think perhaps just once I might use the bathroom by myself? Most amusing, sir. Wipers!
Is this a
I think I know.
Yeah, I
is
think I did.
Is this a what am I trying to say? Is this a oh fuck? What do they call them? Those old
Great
movies
movie.
It is an
With,
older movie.
with is it like in the Life is Brian?
Monty Python. It's not a Monty Python. It's not a Monty
Okay, I
Python.
think I know. I think I know.
Hey, can I give the follow-up quote anyway?
Sure.
Okay.
The follow-up quote is, "The royal penis is clean, Your Highness."
Yes, I totally know what it is.
All right, Jason, put me out of my misery, Jace.
Coming to America.
Yes. Coming to America. Going to America. Going to America.
Coming to America.
Coming to
America. Yeah, it's an Eddie Murphy film with Arsenio Hall. It's pretty funny.
And there's a sequel out soon, I think.
Yeah, just
apparently.
now.
Yeah.
Is that now?
Apparently, it's doing very well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
It is available on Netflix. The first, the original. I would really love to get my hands on and rewatch Trading Places, which came out in a similar time frame.
Not on DVD.
I used to have it on VHS, my dude.
Yeah.
It's a Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy's characters. Like one is like a Wall Street broker, highfalutin financial.
Well, it was Richard Pryor.
I reckon
No.
you're like
You're probably right.
just because
I am.
Jones is in it. You have to go, oh, it's Mufasa, you know?
Oh, the parallels between Lion King and Coming to America are uncanny in the first 5 minutes.
There's a bit.
Right.
Yeah, there's a little bit.
Does it start
Yeah.
with like an African sunrise and someone singing Circle of Life?
It like well, not Circle of Life, but some African chanting, singing, and
ants carrying
and, yeah.
leaves.
it's
Elephants
Ruby.
almost treading on birds.
Hello, Puffy.
Jason, don't say it like that.
Hello, puppy.
What was I going to say? The other game that we need to finish is our 6 degrees. We need to link the 2 subject actors, Zac Efron, to David Bowie.
What movies is David Bowie in?
So, David
Oh,
Bowie.
wait, I know one. I only know one, and that's The Labyrinth.
He's also in The Prestige.
Oh, he is too. He's Nikola Tesla.
Yeah,
Oh, there you
and
go.
He's in Zoolander as David Bowie.
I've got 2 degrees as well, Ben.
Oh.
Is that how you did it, Prestige?
Yep.
Hugh Jackman?
Right.
Greatest Showman? Zac Efron.
Yeah.
Oh, boom! I thought this was
Nice.
going to be a hard one.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
I was...
Well, I thought so too, because I couldn't think of movies other than The Labyrinth that David Bowie had been in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am an idiot. Sometimes.
So, take
So
it
I was going
officially
to choose...
What?
I was just asking Shane to officially do the.
Oh, the linking. Yes. Zac Efron
Right.
starred in The Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman starred in, what did we say? Prestige, with
The
David Bowie.
Prestige.
2 degrees. There we go.
Nice. Yeah,
Hmm.
I was originally going to choose Iggy Pop. And then I thought, no, that might be a bit too hard. I only know him in one movie, which is Coffee and Cigarettes, which is a great film. But yeah.
It's also a good album.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Coffee and
About that?
Cigarettes. Is that oh goodness. The middle? Not the oh goodness. The band that did the middle.
Ben Folds, is it?
No, Jimmy Eat World.
No.
Jimmy
Eat
World,
World.
right.
Yeah, Jimmy Eat World. Coffee and Cigarettes.
Those bands are the same band to me.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, there
I
aren't
like
many films that David Bowie starred in.
Yeah.
There you go. Cool. Well, that does it for our 6 degrees. Next week, gentlemen, is there anything we'd like to set as homework? I humbly submit the newest Disney film that is currently out in cinemas, but also I think can be purchased as one of those premium Disney Plus movies. Raya, something about a dragon, something like that.
Oh.
I don't know that's full name. I just know that it's a Disney movie and I'm going to watch it.
All right.
Okay.
I will watch it with a gambit. My gambit is if they say the word adventure in the first 10 minutes, I turn it off right away.
Okay.
But otherwise, I'll ride or die.
Unfortunately, I need to bow out next week. I have work. So
Boo.
I am really keen to watch it though. I'm really keen to see some Disney stuff. I don't know
It's
where
been a
I was
while.
going with that,
It's been a
yes.
while.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I might watch something on the old pile of shame, the old movie backlog. I think I saw Hot Fuzz
could
on
watch,
Stan, which I
Serenity.
haven't seen. Need to watch it. Sorry.
You can watch Serenity. We were talking about that just earlier.
Well, it's not on any streaming service. So it's on Binge, but I don't have Binge. So
No,
Right.
yeah.
hopefully it drops one day.
Yeah.
I also watched Moonrise Kingdom, a Wes Anderson film recently.
Oh yeah, was that in the streaming service? Maybe I'll watch
I
that.
rented it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let me see if
but,
it's on anything.
No, I rented it on YouTube. So
Oh,
that's how I
because you
watched it.
couldn't find it elsewhere.
Because I couldn't find it elsewhere. But I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, recently watched a Netflix film on Netflix called "I Lost My Body," about a disembodied hand trying to find its way back to its owner.
That makes me think of the movie Idle Hands, which is
Yeah,
a
no, it's not
phenomenal
horror.
horror movie.
It's not
It's a
campy
what's
horror.
no
I've
what's
always
what is
wanted-
it like? Shaun of the Dead. It's like a horror comedy.
A spoof.
Horror-y.
Horromedy.
Horror-y.
Horror-y.
Horror-y is
Horror-
horror, yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on.
Come
Um,
on.
Come on. I've always wanted to watch The Dinner with Andre. I've never seen that before.
Oh yes, Ben. Well, I've got it on DVD because Blu-rays of that movie don't exist apparently.
Okay.
So well, yeah, that's one we could watch it next time I visit you or you visit me. Just let me know.
Nice. Yeah, let's do that.
Add it to the list. Anyway, we'll end the show here. Join us next week, hopefully, for our review of Raya and Something About a Dragon. I don't know what subtitle is. Next Disney movie. I'm really excited
I
for
think
it.
it's called The Last Dragon.
Oh, the last Raya and the Last Dragon.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, there
Well,
you
yeah.
go. That's what we're going to be
Yeah.
watching and reviewing. And maybe we'll throw another movie or two on top of that. I want to thank Mr. Movies, Ben Stapleton.
Had a pod blast, Shane.
I want to thank the dulcet tones of Terry Fear.
It's been delightful to have you.
And I want to thank
Happy.
the era of Jason Mira.
Oh, my hips don't lie, so had a great time.
Thank you for joining us for this episode. Don't forget you can tune in here again 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Twitch.tv/magic_cast. Why do I trip over myself when I say that? Anyway, like Ben said, this has been a Pod Blast. We hope you had a Pod Blast as well. Until next time, hail Hydra.